welcome to a 1925 breakfast. Here we have a delicious biscuit. We are going to explore all of this breakfast, including some amazing peaches with cream, and the final dish in our breakfast menu from a 1925 cookbook is some broiled fish. Along with a cup of coffee and some water. This would round out our meal. So join me in this longer video where I show you how to mold butter, make these delicious biscuits and the broiled fish, and then how to also set the table with linens and proper settings for a delicious meal back in time about 100 years ago. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Trista, the Vintage Cookbook Nerd, and join me for this epic breakfast adventure. So today we're going to be using two books both from the 1920s. This is a Good Housekeeping book with recipes and household discoveries from 1925. And I still have not finished reading this. I've read a lot of the recipes, but there's really cool household tips and things in here. But what I love is they have a ton of menus. So I thought we'd make a breakfast menu. It says from September, we're gonna have peaches with cream, broiled butterfish, which I found out is cod, or I'm using a different type of whitefish. They don't actually weirdly have the recipe here for that in this book, but I'm just gonna figure it out on my own. And then hot biscuits, which we do have a biscuit recipe here, and coffee. So I thought it's really interesting. Most of the breakfasts are usually cereal or eggs or something like that. Sometimes a little bacon or fish, but usually very small, a lot smaller breakfasts. And this is the biscuit recipe we're going to make, Aunt Malindy's Buttermilk biscuit. And then I am going to show you how to set a table according to 1927 etiquette from this beautiful baking book from Royal Baking Powder. And it cost $2. I don't know if you can see that here, but pretty crazy. All right, let's jump into our cooking. Started making our buttermilk biscuits for our 1925 breakfast menu. And I'm dividing this in half because I don't want to have a ton of biscuits. There's just 3 of us. So oftentimes I'll cut a recipe in half. And so we have 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour here. This recipe is from Brooklyn, New York, from Aunt Malindy. So I just have my notes down here. So we are going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt, or whatever salt you like, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And I will be right back because I forgot my whisk to kind of whisk this together. So we want to whisk all the dry ingredients together first. And then we have a tablespoon of lard here. You can also use butter if you prefer, shortening, whatever you prefer. And we're just gonna kind of mix this in with our fingers, kind of like pie dough. We wanna get little tiny bits of it distributed. I find this really relaxing. I don't know if you like to mix in stuff like this by hand, but I love it. Of course, you have clean hands when you do this, but it's just feels like playing like a kid. It's relaxing on the hands. So yeah, we want to get all this mixed in. Sometimes I can sort of zone out when I'm doing this. It's one of my favorite things about making scones and stuff like that. Okay, so let me know in the comments below if you like to play in your dough like this. Okay, so we have that there. Now they want us to add a cup of buttermilk here, the magical ingredient in my opinion. Let me know if you love to add buttermilk to things. We are going to stir this, and then it wants us to knead it until it's smooth and before we roll it out. So what I'm gonna do is get this dough together by stirring it a bit here in this bowl. And then we're gonna turn it out onto this rubber mat that I have with a bit of flour to knead it. So we will come back in just a moment and I'll show you the kneading process and the rolling and cutting out as we get ready for our delicious hot biscuits to go with our breakfast. All right, we are back with the biscuit dough. It says to knead it until smooth. So this sort of reminds me of making scones for tea time, which is one of my specialties since I am a pastry chef at a tea house. So a lot of this kind of work goes on. And yes, so we're going to be kneading this for just a little bit. I still don't want to overwork the dough. I have a larger cutter. I thought I'd do some nice large biscuits. We're going to put a little extra flour to dip that in, and then I have my rimmed tray with a baking mat in it, and then I have my very trusty French rolling pin. I just love this one. It's tapered and it does a great job. So let me do a couple more turns. So let me know, do you love making biscuits or scones or any of these types of breads? Do you make them for breakfast, tea time? What's your favorite thing to make them for, or have you not made them very much? I would love to know. So I am always searching for the best scone or the best biscuit, so I'm curious to see how these pan out. And like I say, I want to make these kind of large and thick. I'm not looking to make a large amount of these, so we might just do 3 big ones and then maybe a little bit of a re-roll on here. So I like to have it nice and thick because I really love to have it rise and have it be nice and big and fluffy. So here's what that looks like. It looks gorgeous to me. I just love those kind of layers in the biscuit. So we're gonna put those on the tray. I think I'll do one little re-roll here off camera, and then we're gonna get these into a 450-degree oven for about 15 minutes. I might check them at 10 because my oven is on the convection setting, so sometimes they don't take quite as long, especially at that higher temperature, so I'll be mindful of that. So we'll be back to spy on them when they're in the oven. I wanted to quickly show you that this made about 5 large biscuits. If you do the whole recipe, it'll probably make about 10. You can make smaller biscuits if you'd like, but I just like them really fluffy like this. So let's get these in the oven. Oh, look at these delicious biscuits, almost done. They're rising high. Okay, we are going to try molding butter. I have some local butter here that I softened. I thought it would be cute if we each had a butter shape with our biscuit at the table, since it called for butter curls in the table setting. Not sure how to make the curls, but I have these molds I've had for a long time, and I actually had to look up info on how to use these because I don't even remember where I got them. But I found out probably freezing them is gonna make it so that these come out with a nice shape and really cute. So I'm just filling each of these with butter. Somebody's gonna have a lot more butter than the other two people, but it will be plenty. And while the biscuits are baking, let's get these molded up, and then I'll put these in the freezer maybe 20 to 30 minutes or maybe less, we'll see. And then try to unmold them and see if we can have a cute little butter display for our biscuits. So let's take a look at these beautiful biscuits straight out of the oven. I did leave them in for nearly the whole 15 minutes because I wanted to make sure that they were nice and golden brown, but I love how fluffy they are, how they rose really nicely. So I'm excited to give one a try. In just a moment, I'm gonna get a plate and a knife so we can split one open and see what it looks like inside. Look at that beautiful biscuit. This looks perfect and fluffy inside. That's gonna taste amazing with butter, maybe a little bit of jam. I think I will be heating these up a tiny bit in the oven when we have our breakfast along with the fish and the peaches and cream, so stay tuned. So now we're gonna make our broiled fish for part of this 1925 breakfast. And I'm just gonna do this my way because for some reason they had that on the menu but no recipe. So I'm gonna be using butter, fresh squeezed lemon juice, and a mixture of a teaspoon of kosher salt, dried thyme, and about a half teaspoon of fresh ground pepper, more or less. And then some yummy lemon slices. So here I defrosted some fillets of orange roughy. You can use what other type of fish that you prefer in fillet form, but I thought I would try this. So I'm just gonna put little bits of butter here on each one. And we're gonna sort of get that distributed as best we can on the top there. And I'm not gonna turn on the broiler until we're ready with this. But what we're gonna do is only do this about 2 minutes at a time and then kind of check it so that it doesn't get overcooked. Okay. And I'm gonna wash everything after I do this because I'm touching the fish, but I have clean hands. So we're gonna pour some of the lemon juice over. I always like kind of butter, lemon, herb type fish, or I also love blackened spicy fish, but I'm doing a milder thing today. So let me know what kind of seasonings you like on fish, if you do like fish. I remember growing up, about the only time we would have fish for breakfast was camping. If somebody caught some trout, and I'm not a huge trout person, so a lot of times I wouldn't really eat much. I mean, I would eat some of it for breakfast, but but I've gotten more used to having all kinds of things for breakfast, so this seems yummy to me. And our son loves fish, so he will be excited by this. Fish any time of the day. So I'm gonna put, shoot, I have only 3 lemon slices. Well, I think I will slice them smaller and put them on top. But I will be back to show you the broiling process in just a moment. So So this is about 2 minutes after broiling, just for, well, broiling for 2 minutes. So I think I'll turn the pan around and we'll broil another 2 minutes and see how we're doing. So these are the lovely fish fillets. After about 6 minutes of broiling, they look fantastic and cooked through. The time may vary based on your broiler and various factors, but they look wonderful. And we're just about ready to get the table set for our amazing breakfast. Yum. So now we're going to be setting the breakfast table using this book, Anyone Can Bake. It is from 1927. Yes, that is correct. And so we are going to be setting our table here for breakfast, more or less according to what they have here. And so let's get started. I will chat with you along the way. So this is our dining table here. And I ironed this tablecloth. It said, I normally don't do this, but it said to make a crease in the middle, to divide the table in half. And we are a family of 3, so we just sit at the other end there. So I am still going to divide the table in half, just as the book says. You know, sometimes we have guests, but I just keep the table this way so that it looks nice and I don't have to store the chairs away. So I don't know, on a regular basis, usually on weekdays, I don't use a tablecloth, although I love tablecloths and weirdly I love ironing. That's not a normal thing, but anyway, usually we use placemats. Sorry, I have some of my stuff off to the side. We're gonna put down the cloth napkins. I kind of re-iron these because even if you iron them, they get a little bit wrinkled. So I'm gonna set the 3 places over here for our 1925 breakfast. So I'm going to be setting out the silverware first. Sorry for being off camera part of the time, but we have forks, knives, spoons, and then butter spreaders. If you don't have butter spreaders, you can put more knives or just use these knives. It's totally fine. And these were actually my grandma. She grew up, well, she was born in the 20s. She passed away many years ago, but they're kind of an Art Deco style. So we are gonna put the fork on the left side. So I'll show you a closer shot once we are done with the table, but forks on the left, then the knives on the right, and then we want to put the spoons by the knives, and then we'll put the butter spreaders out here for now, but oh, I forgot to get smaller plates for that. But I'm just going to use these small plates because this is just a breakfast, a little simpler. So we don't need quite as big of plates. So how many of you love to set the table or don't like to set the table? Please let me know in the comments. I'm going to put coffee cups here because the menu calls for coffee. Our son doesn't drink coffee, but maybe he can have some hot cider or something. And I'm also going to be using these doilies here. My great grandma made these, if you can believe it. They're really fine work. I'm gonna put these below the water glasses. We're just gonna be fancy. I encourage you to set the table as often as you can, because it's just a nice feeling. I always set the table the night before for breakfast so I don't have to be in a hurry. And we'll put the extra doily in that center. And personally, I don't know if I'm a fan of that crease there, but yeah, I'm doing what the book says. So we're going to use these wine glasses for water glasses. We don't really drink wine, but these are pretty. And then I don't have any matching bowls, but I'm just going to use these little bowls for the fruit. So we're going to set those in the center since that's going to be the first course. And let's take a moment to see a little bit closer. So here you can see the place setting a little closer. We have the fruit bowl here. We're going to put the peaches and cream here with the fish, and then the hot biscuit will go here. And then I need to fill these water glasses when it's mealtime up to 3/4 full. And then this is for the coffee. And then we have our butter spreader here for the biscuit. You're supposed to put a curl of butter here. I do have a little butter mold. I'm going to try to make little molded butter, so we'll revisit that later. But I think we did a very nice job. Very similar to the book. I don't have the 2 spoons because I don't know if that's necessary. And I did put the fork on the napkin, but there's that crease. Alrighty, so let's move on to the rest of our meal. So now you can see our entire 1925 breakfast menu from the Good Housekeeping cookbook. Here I just have some peaches that were frozen that I defrosted a bit. If this were really August or September, we could get fresh ones, but this is what we had for now. And then I have a little pitcher of cream, and I assume what you would have done is poured a little bit of cream on that. Then we have our biscuits from the Good Housekeeping cookbook. They're nice and fluffy, and I was able to mold the butter. The freezer trick really worked, so that is lovely. Then we have our water glass filled. We have our coffee over here. And then I decided to put this on a serving platter because we need to finish our fruit before we start the next course of this delicious broiled orange roughy. It's kind of my own little recipe because it wasn't included in the book. But I hope that you enjoyed this fun trip down, not necessarily memory lane because most of us were not around then, but just something fun to see what a family might have had for breakfast if they followed some of these menus. So thank you so much for joining me, and please stay tuned for the family tasting. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe and like this video, and I hope to see you very soon in the tasting. Hello, we are here at well, it's dinner time, but we're trying this breakfast from 1925 with my husband Paul, son Adam, and we have the peaches and cream, biscuits, and broiled fish.
Wow, that's a breakfast.
It is a breakfast menu, at least from the Good Housekeeping cookbook.
So where's the cream in the peaches and cream?
You just pour over heavy cream if you want.
Oh, I see. It's just peaches and heavy cream.
Yeah. Well, that's my assumption because there was no recipe. So
okay. Well, I'm all for that.
Are you supposed to cut the biscuit? Because I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
You want some cream?
Yeah.
And you have a little bit of molded butter there.
I'm not sure, I've heard peaches and cream, but I don't think I've ever actually had peaches and cream.
Yeah, there's always like fruit and cream things, but I've never really tried them.
So
let's see.
What is molded butter exactly?
You just put it in like a shape mold and put it in the freezer, and then,
peaches and cream is delicious.
What kind of shape did you go for? Was it like a heart shape or? Oh, really?
Yes.
What I get?
It's just like a dome.
Mm.
I didn't have 3 hearts. I only had three shapes. I'm sorry. But yeah, fruit and cream, very good. What do you think of the biscuit?
Amazing.
Awesome.
Try this peaches and cream.
I heated these up a little bit.
Bring the fish. I want to try the fish.
Okay.
It smells really good, actually.
Yes, this is orange roughy. I kind of made up the recipe because they just said broiled fish, so it has some lemon
Want me
and
to get you
butter
Yeah.
and some herbs.
You know I like fish.
Yes. Oh well. Here, I'll get to. You can have the other half if you want it.
Thank you.
Like that.
This looks yummy.
Yeah, cut out very fancy because we're in the 20s.
This is a very fancy breakfast. What do you think of the fish?
Delicious. I'm approved for the 1920s breakfast.
That was a nice breakfast, actually. You need to try the biscuit.
Don't get me
real
wrong.
quick.
I like the fish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how I'd feel about it for breakfast.
I'd be all
It
over
is
this.
different.
Yeah.
Fish for breakfast? Count me in.
The biscuit is super soft and yeah, it's really, really nice. Yeah, fish for breakfast is,
A great
when
idea.
I was growing up, it was only like camping, so,
Mm.
or when I was in Japan for a while, so. Anyways.
The biscuit's good. It's dense, but really tasty.
Nice and soft.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome stuff.
Good menu from 1925. Definitely give it a try.